Happy Mercury Day, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Star Watch, which is a weekly astrological transit report for Wednesday, November 23rd. All right, everybody, before we get into the chart reading, I have a little bit of a personal message. If you want to skip it, I totally will put the timestamp down below so you can just jump to the astrology analysis for this week. But I do have a request from you. And I just want to tell a little bit of get a little intimate with you guys, if you guys don't mind. It's a holiday weekend here in the United States. So if you have time, grab a cup of tea, whatever, and let's just chat, because the past couple months, I've had to really think about stuff and my future and all that kind of stuff, And I've started my channel in 2015, and I only started it because I wanted extra cash so that I could travel. That was it. That was the reason. I was I was dating a guy who was in Miami, and I wanted to be able to go to Miami once in a while, and I wanted to be able to go to LA, and I wanted to, spend a week in Europe. And that was the whole point of my channel. Just a little bit of extra cash, $500, $1,000 extra dollars, And then it kind of became my full-time thing, and I was able to quit my other job, and I was able to move to Bali and to Budapest, and I traveled all over the place, and it somehow just was my life. And I don't know that I ever really fully was committed or dedicated to it. It just was something that just happened. And I went through my own dark night of the soul through this process. Anyone knows that when you start learning about astrology and tarot and any other types of things, you go through an extensive growth process. And I think tarot and astrology became my tools for my own evolution. And now I'm on the other side of that to a degree, never-ending evolution, but you know what I mean. I'm on the other end of that, and I'm I don't know that I'm feeling as fulfilled by doing these types of readings anymore. And so my request is I need to know a little bit more about you. And I need to know a little bit about why you're here. Why are you watching my videos? Over the past couple of years, my channel has completely stagnated, and it's even starting to decrease now in subscriber count and viewer count. And I know I just haven't really kept up with a lot of the trends because my focus was so much on health, and I didn't really adapt my fixed energy. I've got Jupiter in Aquarius, Venus in Leo, and all my Scorpio stuff. So I'm not the most adaptable person. And because of that, I think I've kind of gotten left behind a little bit, or I don't even know. And my health was premier, so I couldn't invest in this at all. And now I'm at a point where I can. But the question is if I'm going to invest, what do I invest into with this channel and with my readings and what's public out there, and with my Soul Seekers group? I have, we're going into really great stuff in my Soul Seekers astrology school, where we're, going through this whole traditional astrology curriculum, and we're helping people, analyze their own charts and understand their own charts a lot better. But I know that there's more that I can do and more than I can offer. So my questions really are, why are you here on my channel with me? And have you ever seen results? If you've gotten a private reading from me, or when you watch my weeklies, do you apply the information? Do you make decisions based on the information? Or do you just sort of culminate and process? Do you use it to help you with new perspectives so that you can move forward more clearly? And with the results, if you have taken action because of something that you've heard on my channel, how did that work out? Did it work out well? Did it not work out well? And what are you, who are you? What are you going through? When I say who are you, I don't mean that aggressively, genuinely, who are you? What's your story? What issues are you facing in your life? Are you facing financial concerns? Are you facing romantic concerns? Are you, trying to improve your life? Are you trying to grow businesses? I think I need a better handle on what my audience, the people who are drawn to me, what you're facing. And perhaps maybe there's a way that I can tailor or cater a little bit more to that kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to put my email down below. You don't have to message in the comments unless you want to. I think it actually could be a nice community thing for some people who are willing to kind of share who they are. But you don't have to. If you want to privately message me, I'll put my email. Now, I may not respond, but I will spend this holiday weekend reading everything. Okay, I will absolutely read everything. And I'm going to take into consideration a lot of these things. Because as I approach 2023, and I know the last time that was a year number 7, right? 2 + 2 + 3, 2023, 2014 was a year number 7. That year kicked my butt, okay? And so I know, now that was also a Saturn return, so I don't think this one's going to be that bad, but I do have Saturn coming into an opposition with my Mars, my Mercury, my Sun over the course of the next 3 years in my 6th house. So I'm already kind of mentally preparing for the amount of work that's in front of me, and I'm prepared to make a lot of modifications. And I just want to know who you are and how I can bring the most value, because there are so many tarot readers now and so many astrologers now. And I think that's amazing and wonderful. And that's another thing. Do you guys want to learn how to be a tarot reader? Do you want to learn how to be an astrologer? Is that something you want to know? Or are you more concerned on how to use those tools? Or do you not care about those things at all? And maybe you only really care about the message that those things inspire from someone like me, right? Not everyone wants to learn. Not everyone cares what the Tower card means in tarot, right? Not everyone cares. But they do care how someone interprets it and how that can apply to them in their life. So I just need some kind of measurement so I can wrap my head around what's really going on with you guys. Okay, what's going on with you, and what adjustments I can make, because I don't think I can keep going in this same direction. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing monthlies. There just may be extra videos or extra things that, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram, and I'm going to start doing TikTok now. I'm trying, you guys. I'm really, really trying. And do you guys like Facebook? I have a Facebook page that I have not opened. The only time I've used it is to log in so I can look at other people's pages, because here in Mississippi where I live, a lot of people don't have websites. They only have Facebook pages. So I have to log in order to see their page. So, but are you guys on Facebook? Do you want to have interaction on Facebook? Would that be valuable? Would that be meaningful for you? Because for me, this is a turning point. And with my health, I feel like I'm coming back to life. And I haven't felt like this literally since 2017. It's been a long time. I haven't felt this energy. I haven't felt this invigoration. My brain has not worked like this in a really long time. This is the first time in 5 years that I don't have to lay down all the time. I didn't realize that my fatigue and brain fog got as bad as it did. That's the thing. Those things creep up on you. You don't even know it's happening. And before you know it, this was the case with me, I could only do one activity a day. So if I had to go to the grocery store, that was the only thing I could mentally handle. So everything else had to get put on hold. If I went to the gym, which I was trying to, that was the only thing I could do. I couldn't go to the gym and work, or go to the gym and go to the grocery store. It was just only one thing. So I had to plan my whole life according to what's the one thing I can do today. So it has been a ride for sure. Okay, sorry. I had to turn the camera off. I'm an ugly crier. I'm not ready to share that ugly cry face with you. Anyway, Scorpio moon nonsense. It is going to be an emotional month, by the way. I think I told you in the monthly readings, right? Neptune is going direct. For me, that's happening opposite my Mercury and my Sun. So I'm certainly feeling the Neptune energy. Not always my favorite, but it is what it is. But that's neither here nor there. So that's where I'm coming from. And that's why I'm putting this message out there, because I genuinely want to make these changes. And I do genuinely want my channel to grow. For too many years, I think I told myself that I didn't care that much because I didn't have the capacity to care. So that's all changing now. That's all changing. And I think it's time for me to take some big steps. Like you, like I'll just take my own advice from my own readings. It's time for me to take my own steps. After I did these December readings, I had a real come to Jesus moment with myself. And it was like, okay, Jane, it's time. You are advising everybody else, but you have to do it too. So we're all in this together. Okay, so anyway, with all that being said, for those who are still here with me, let's take a look at the chart for this week. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this chart. Thank you to those of you who listened to my little message. I really appreciate it. Now, if you are members of my Soul Seeker group as well, I just wanted to remind you that if you haven't watched the new moon in Sagittarius video that I posted last week, it's up there on the feed. So you just log in, you scroll down a little bit, you should see it there. I'm going to be working on organizing that Soul Seekers membership a little bit better so things are easier to find, but that'll probably come throughout December. Now, obviously today we have this new moon happening. Here's the moon right here. Here's the sun right here in Sagittarius. And this is a beautiful breath of fresh air. It is separating off of this trine with Jupiter. It's not, it's like I said, it's not an exact trine, but it's kind of separating off a little bit. So Jupiter being involved plus Jupiter ruled Sagittarius, freedom is on the brain. There's no doubt about it. Freedom of circumstances, freedom of spirit, freedom of financially, right? Whatever the case may be. Because I think Scorpio season really compressed a lot and it pushed us to the brink of something. It pushed us to a breaking point where we had to do something about something. We couldn't just sit and let it be. We couldn't just sit and let it linger. We actually had to act. It's kind of the vibe that I get from Scorpio. And as soon as we came into Sagittarius season yesterday, there was this notion of I got to get out of here, right? I got to get out of this circumstance. I need to make this improvement in my life. I need to incorporate this new thing, or I need to learn this new thing, or I have to reach out to that person. It could manifest in so many different ways, but there is a quality of outreach, reaching out into the world for more. And see, Mercury is in detriment here. He's actually pretty weak all week. He's not super strong here. Let me go back. Right now he's sitting at a -4. And as we kind of go forward a little bit, so on Friday, he's sitting at a -10. He is coming into an opposition with Mars this week. All right. And as of next Tuesday, he will be in a full opposition. Now, this can be tough because especially with so many people, well, at least in the United States anyway, being with family this weekend for the holiday, this could be very aggressive. And we know how triggering our family can be, especially when there's a lot of people, and we all have to get along and we all have to work together, getting the meal and whatever the case is. We all have to be together. We have to work together. And we have to communicate. And sometimes communication can be really triggering. Mercury is challenged here in Sagittarius because first of all, it's not just that Jupiter is Jupiter rule is so big. It's not really just that. It's that Sagittarius has a lot to do with ethics and law and the development of those things, and using philosophy and religion to create those things. And so there's a lot of yes, Sagittarius is fun. If you meet a Sagittarius person, they do tend to be more fun and whatnot, but there is a very strict code. a code of conduct, a code of morality. And because Mercury is so playful and mischievous, and he can definitely, like, often, like, if we, like, I just have to, like, say this, like, every time someone has, like if I'm doing a reading and someone has a really challenged Mercury placement, it's, like, very common that that person is a liar or attracts liars. You know, or people who just are not honest or don't really honor boundaries very well. But here in Jupiter ruled Sag, he has rules that he has to abide by, and they have to be, like, good. There's an element of goodness here, and he's not really allowed to play as much as he likes to play. All right, so there's a lot of truth bombs that are possible, a lot of triggers through words, a lot of communication challenges, and there could quite possibly be travel challenges for many of you as well. I really hope not. I genuinely hope not. I know we saw so much of that throughout 2020. Was it this year or was it last year? I think it was this year, where all the planes were getting canceled and all the flights and a lot of the bags were, like, building up. Like, those videos I saw of Heathrow Airport were, like, insane, right? Thousands of bags being lost in the airport somewhere. Crazy stuff. Hopefully it's not, like, anything like that. Probably not, but hopefully not. So anyway, there could be certain, you know, aspects there. Being around family can be a lot. Now, a good way to mediate this really is just simply, if someone asks for your opinion, or they ask for help, or they ask for your input on something, especially if it's about them personally. This doesn't have anything to do with my message at the beginning. This just happened to come to my head. Chances are the best way to deliver that information is ask them, how would you like me to deliver this? Like, do you want me to be brutally honest? Like, are you able to handle that? Do you want me to be nice about it? You know, because this will have that tendency to just, like, go right to the throat. It doesn't have to be like that. Okay. It definitely does not have to be like that. It just goes for the jugular. But if you ask, then maybe you can cater. At least Sagittarius is a mutable sign. Mars being immutable, at least there's flexibility there, okay? So, okay, we have that. Let me go back to today as well. Now, the moon over the next few days is going to be moving through Capricorn and through Aquarius, meaning, you know, it's going to hit up against Pluto, it's going to hit up against Saturn. There does seem to be a quality of... there's a building, obviously, because the moon is waxing. So there is a building, and it's going to be building to a full moon in a couple of weeks, conjunct Mars down here in Gemini, which is happening in December, on December 7th. And the waxing energy, as it hits up against these big planets here, it does, like, I do think the movement component of Sagittarius is going to be highly activated. And the moon and all of the information that it retains is going to be asked to, like, I feel like the moon's going to get shaken and something is going to come loose. Something that has been held on so tightly, it's going to start to break away. It's like if you rattle a metal cage, eventually, as strong as that metal can be, everything is going to have to break at some point. And so I feel like something that has been stuck for a really long time, chances are that was accentuated throughout Sagittarius season. And we officially have that first new moon after eclipses. So this is officially the end of eclipses right here. And so everything that happened and everything that we processed during that time, it's one thing for it to come into consciousness, and it's another to actually change around our epiphanies, right? And I do think Sagittarius, often any mutable sign energy always asks us to change, because that's what they do. They carry out one season and prepare for the next. So there is always a changeability that is much more possible throughout a mutable season as opposed to fixed and cardinal. So this is the time to make adjustments, especially because Venus is in here as well. And as she comes into an opposition with Mars over the next couple of weeks as well, she's going to demand it, and she's going to demand that action is being taken. Okay? So something is going to be shaken loose over the next few days. There's going to be a lot of epiphanies and a lot of aha moments and a lot of desire to actually adapt. People who have a lot of fixed energy in their chart can struggle with that. Even cardinals, mutables are a little bit easier. But some people may have a mutable sun, but then they have a lot of the other modalities. So this will be especially relevant for you. It's a good time to consciously make these changes. Now, these are in a separating degree with Jupiter. Jupiter being over. Now, when I say separating, meaning they were in an official trine a few days ago when they were in, well, the sun anyway, at 28 degrees of Scorpio. That was in an official trine. But even as they come through, they're sitting at 1 degree, 30 minutes, 32 minutes. They're still in a trine, but they are separating, meaning they're a little bit past, but it's still there. So there's still a positive flow coming through here. What Jupiter is offering, not only is he the ruler here, but because he's in his other sign of rulership, which is idyllic, Pisces, rose-colored glasses, Pisces, is it starts to offer us hope, a lot of hope and a lot of belief in ourselves and belief in the world at large and belief in the possibility that something can be better, that something can improve, and that something can evolve, and that you aren't stuck. You're not stuck. You're not in a fixed position, that there can be evolution. And Jupiter is also offering that higher mind. Mercury not super happy with it, but he is forced to go into that higher realm of that higher realm of possibility. And even that higher realm of probability. One of the messages that came out throughout the December reading was that, there were things that once seemed improbable for you, like the likelihood of getting that or the likelihood that this would happen for you seemed slim to none, like almost impossible. And now things are shifting in a way where you look at that thing that once seemed so unattainable, and now you're like, I actually really could do this. And that energy will likely continue throughout that first part of the year as Jupiter comes through Aries and even on in through Taurus. So I'm really, really optimistic. I'm really optimistic for us as individuals, leveraging our belief in ourselves for something greater in order to attain those things. Because something about Sagittarius that I've said over and over, and I'll continue to repeat myself, is that Sagittarius truly represents the expansion in both the mental and spiritual world, or the more metaphysical realm, and in the material realm, and that it doesn't distinguish between the two. It doesn't differentiate between a spiritual something as being good and a material something as being anti-spiritual. That's not a thing, okay? Usually, spirituality and mental and knowledge and learning, right? The more and more we expand in these areas, the more our material world will expand along with it. And so this is that moment where these two areas of our lives really converge. And that's why possibility is becoming important for us, because we know that it's easy for us to conceive the infinite growth spiritually and mentally. Like, we know that if we go learn about a topic, that there is infinite knowledge about that topic. Health, the human body, right? Can we literally put a cap on what we know about the human body? It's continuing to grow every single day. There are new discoveries all the time. Quantum physics, new discoveries all the time. So we can easily envision the infinite in that mental, learning, spiritual realm. Sometimes when we look at the material realm, we say, well, this is all I can earn per hour. And we immediately put a cap on that. But this is a time where it's like these two things start to really mirror one another. And as much as the mental and spiritual is infinite, so is the material. And this is when our blockages and our resistance really starts to shed. And actually, if you know Sagittarians, I'm not saying every Sagittarian has this perfect life or whatever, but a lot of the most wealthy people. I used to work in commercial real estate and I used to work in finance, okay, back in the day. And actually, I dated a guy who was extremely well. Like he took shortly after we dated, he took one of his companies public. Like he's doing really well. And I also know this other woman who has prominent Sagittarius in her chart, kicking butt in real estate, right? The top realtor in Vegas, and they all have strong Sagittarius placements. It's either like a Sagittarius rising, or they have like Jupiter in the second house with Sagittarius in the second house with strong Jupiterian placements there. Whatever the case may be, but like these are people that they don't ever think that they don't deserve the money. They don't think that they don't ever deserve the money, or the love, or the beautiful things. Like they don't deny themselves those things. Whereas people with a lot of Scorpio or Capricorn or Virgo or a lot of these things, they fight against the very thing that they want. They experience a lot of resistance and pulling away from those things. And they can be at war with themselves, especially like a Mars ruled, well, more Scorpio than Aries, but a lot of these signs, they can be at war with themselves a lot of times, and that slows down their growth. So if you're someone that has that tendency to be at war with yourself, it's like, up here you deserve it, and you also know that you want it, but for some reason energetically, like you can't seem to really get there. This is that moment where we just say, like, this is exhausting. I'm tired of that Scorpion, right? Because this is the breakthrough from Scorpio to Sag. So it's like that breakthrough, the rebirth that happened in Scorpio. Now we have wings. Now we can fly. This is like this, so in Scorpio, let's just use this as an example. One of the symbols, I read this somewhere. I think this was in some Vedic literature. Scorpio symbolized the eagle, symbolized by the eagle and the serpent, right? The king of the heavens versus the king of the earth, right? Heaven and earth, spiritual, material, coming together in a war. And they intertwine so tightly that they literally implode on one another. And from these ashes, the phoenix rises. But what happens when the phoenix rises? It flies. So the process of rebirth is Scorpionic, but the life after is Sagittarius. And this is where the worry and the stress and that inner battle and that inner fight and that inner resistance just melts away. I'm not saying we're all going to be there. I'm not saying just because the sun is in Sagittarius, we're all in this perfect place. I know we're all working through things, but just know that astrologically, you are supported in your desire to release these resistances. And there's a lot of love that comes through this archetype because that's what Jupiter is. He is a planet of wealth and abundance and blessings and really, really, really good things. And blessing you with families. And I love that, even though a lot of people, like Thanksgiving is super controversial now, and I get it, fine. But if you're with family, if you actually do take time to be with your family, how much, that's so Jupiterian. Being with the people that you love, hopefully you love them, right? Being with the people that you love. Jupiter also a ruler of children as well. Jupiter being the exalted planet that is down here in Cancer. There is a deep connection. It's like not even surprising that a Thanksgiving holiday, I know not all Thanksgivings are in Sagittarius season, but you get the idea. Makes sense that it's in a Jupiter ruled time, So being around people that you love, being with your children if you have them, and finding that love and that abundance that occurs through those aspects of life. Okay? Also throughout this week, Venus and Mercury coming into a beautiful trine with Chiron, meaning we have an opportunity to really heal a lot of that wounding that, again, probably became illuminated throughout Scorpio season. Scorpio is in a quincunx aspect. It's in an inconjunct. It's a very strange, awkward angle. And the South Node right here in this inconjunct with Chiron. So South Node being very much about release and surrender and giving up and even loss. Even though this is an awkward angle, I actually think it's quite supportive of something like this, where it's like, as much as we want to, we literally cannot hang on to the pain. We literally cannot. It's just not astrologically feasible. And so the only option is to embrace the Jupiterian qualities. It's to embrace the abundance that can and possibly will come in through this time, or that is at least activated through this time and will grow over the course of the next 5 months when we hit Aries season. Okay? So I do think this is a great time. And don't forget that Mars is still in this beautiful trine with the Saturn. A lot of times in astrology, we always focus on the hard stuff, like the crappy stuff. But sometimes these planets that are tough planets, Mars is tough, Saturn is tough, they're considered to be malefic, but yet here they are sitting in beautiful masculine signs. Saturn is in rulership, and when they work together, freaking Mars and Saturn can conquer the world. And you may have that rising up inside of you. It's like, I really do want to conquer this issue. I really do want to achieve this thing, and I will do whatever it requires of me. There's a lot of accountability, a lot of self-responsibility. There's not a lot of relying upon others right now. It's very self-focused because that's you're the one who's going to build the machine that's going to fit your life. No one else is going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to customize it for you in the way that you can. So while you may still be working with people, delegating, which was a big theme throughout December readings, we may not quite be there yet. And I think there's a lot of self-reliance coming through. And I think North Node and Uranus conjunction in Taurus, which is still going on, is demanding that as well. The self-reliance, taking care of things on your own, and being, I say taking care of things, I don't necessarily mean the menial things, but when it comes to your vision and your mission and your families and your businesses and your finances and all of that, this is like, okay, I'm taking responsibility. I'm reminded of that show, Schitt's Creek. Did you guys ever watch that show? The very first episode, the story is like, these billionaire, like multimillionaire or billionaire or whatever, super, super rich New York people. And like the money person either embezzled or stole or never paid taxes or whatever. So they lost everything and had to go live in this terrible town called Schitt's Creek. But the whole thing was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I trusted him. I can't believe that he did this to us. I never would have thought he would have done this to us. And it's like that's kind of what the stars is like. Don't just trust anybody. Like, you need to look at your books. You need to pay attention to your bank account. You need to pay attention to what's going on in your household, what's going on in your business. You need to pay attention. You can't let things go through the cracks. And again, linking it to the December readings, I know we're not there quite yet, but there was a big message of delegation. So like taking care of the things that could be automated, or that, like I was using the examples of like cleaning your house or detailing your car or whatever, simple things like that. But when it comes to the big important things that are a lot, like obviously if you're trying to build a business, your finances are intrinsically linked with that. You are going to need to pay attention to your financials, Okay, you are going to need to know how much tax you owe. You are going to need to make sure your employees are being paid the right amount. Like, obviously, you can't just like completely disconnect from those things if they are important for your bigger vision or your bigger goal. And that structure and that discipline, which Mars and Saturn are instilling within us right now, or offering us, I think this is a gift. And this is supporting the freedom that Sagittarius season is offering. Okay? All right. I'm going to leave you with that. Again, thanks to all those who listened to my message at the beginning. It means the world to me. I look forward to hearing from you. For those of you who celebrate, have an amazing holiday. For those of you who do not, I wish you an amazing week and weekend. And I will leave you with that. All right. Thank you so much. Take care.